Hey, I'm Chase Cunningham, Dr. Zero Trust. I'm going to give you the top 10 things you need to know this week about cybersecurity and zero trust. Here we go. Buckle up. Number one, the IRS is getting close to its version of zero trust. This is good because our tax dollars are actually going towards something that's useful for once. The IRS has a detailed plan for achieving a state of zero trust on its information technology networks, which is something all agencies are under obligation law to do for cybersecurity. Its big issue that it's talking about is putting the right people and the right funding behind different portions of the plan. There's a really good article on Federal News Network about this. Go check that out. Number two, the vulnerability of zero trust. This is an interesting piece about strategy and honest deployment of the stuff that you have to put in place to deal with the reality. And this is from the Storm 0558 hack, an attack that believed to be perpetrated by Chinese hacker group Storm 0558 targeted several government agencies. You heard about this. They used fake digital authentication tokens to access webmail accounts on Microsoft's Outlook. In this incident, the attackers stole a signing key from Microsoft, enabling them to issue functional access tokens for OWA Outlook web access and download emails and attachments. Due to a plausibility check error, the digital signature, which was only intended for private customer accounts, also worked with Azure AD. So there's a lot of cross-pollination in this one. There's a lot of things going back and forth. You should know about this, but it's good to know that people are being real about it. And yes, there are vulnerabilities with any strategy, but there are ways that you deal with those problems. Number three, how the DoD agencies are lining up to meet the deadline set by the Biden administration for ZT. They had a set number of days to do this, 60 days to do this, 180 to do that, whatever. Good article on HelpNet Security about where they are in that. They're about 70% moving forward on phase one. The unknown with strategic implementations of ZT. But really, this should be called implementing the unknown stuff with strategic focus. ZT happens to be the strategy most people are lined up on. SecurityBoulevard.com on that one. SentinelOne is talking about a sale. Their stock bumped up by quite a bit as soon as this became public knowledge. It's probably going to be a pretty large chunk of change that's going to make this happen. So if you got SentinelOne stock, could be a good time to be you. There's an article on the Hacker News about CISOs talking about what the real problems they face in SaaS applications are. It's interesting. So CISOs tout SaaS security, so it's getting better, but nearly 80% admit to SaaS incidents. And this is a report from App Omni, new state of SaaS security posture management reports. 71% of CISOs noted that their organization's SaaS security maturity has achieved either a mid or high level for security controls. Remarkably, 85% answered that they're confident or very confident in a company or customer's data security that is stored in sanctioned, that's the key word here, sanctioned SaaS app. Cybersecurity teams should be concerned, though only 21% claimed that there were no attacks on SaaS applications in the last 12 months. So I would say it's probably more like 100%, and the ones that don't know about it just didn't detect it. Cyber news, what time is it? Tink, tink, it's breach time for Seiko. Seiko watches. Seiko discloses data breach. They're also a semiconductor manufacturer, so that's interesting as well. Seiko NPC Corporation, which has been around since 1975, was breached. Originally published on its website on August 10th. And notice that Black Cat listed Seiko on its data leak site. There is no details further than that, but they're calling it a possible data breach. If you're publishing this stuff and you're putting it out to the market, it's a data breach. So if you have Seiko stuff or are tied in there, I would go look if you're a subcontractor, manufacturer, whatever else. Another great article from Louis Columbus about XDR plus AI equals security. How doable is this? This is on venturebeat.com. Everything that he writes is pretty much gospel, so go read this. Back to school tips for cybersecurity. Pretty simple stuff. Make sure your kids have got multi-factor authentication enabled. Pay attention to what's going on with their accounts. Look for weird things that don't make sense. And then also update your controls based on the requirements for the organization. If they're using a VPN, see if you can talk them into moving off of VPNs. Schools should be able to get to ZTNA. It's much easier after they put it in place. And then lastly, there are implications of the SEC rules that were recently announced. They're going to be applied in the context of cybersecurity. But the problem is those rules are being pushed faster than people can actually come up with responses to the problems that they're facing. So it's a bit sticky. SEC, big government agency that can push a lot of things in front of us, could be problematic. There you go. That's the top 10 things to know this week in cybersecurity. I'm Dr. Chase Cunningham, aka Dr. Zero Trust, reporting for Cybersecurity HQ. Thanks, and as always, stay smart, stay safe, and stay secure.